So now I want to invite us to light the chalice with words by Stephen Levine. There is an elemental love in the universe by which name we know each other and encourage ourselves to live. There is a silver river that connects everything, from which some part of us never leaves. There is a mercy making its way up through the ocean, over the earth, to the shores of our feet. There is a music so sweet it is almost unbearable, that is composed between the ear and the heart, which reminds us. And so we light the chalice. I'd like to share a story with you now. It comes from the Japanese Zen Buddhist tradition, and it can be found in one of the wonderful resource materials that is provided to us by the Soul Matters Sharing Circle. In case you're not aware, we are a participant in this circle of collaborative congregations creating the resources for our monthly theme each month. And so, in this way, we are stronger together. So, now the story, the bamboo and the storm. Long ago, in a quiet mountain village, a young monk felt overwhelmed. Storms had battered the fields, the roof of the temple was leaking, and each day more people arrived with worries that he did not know how to ease. One afternoon, the young monk sat with his teacher beside a grove of bamboo. The young monk said, "I don't understand. Everything feels so heavy. I keep trying to be strong, but the storms just keep coming, and I feel so worn down, like I'm about to break." The teacher nodded gently and then pointed toward the bamboo swaying in the wind. "Watch," the teacher said. And a powerful gust then swept down the mountainside. The bamboo stalks bent almost to the ground, but they didn't break. When the wind passed, they rose again, tall and steady. And the teacher said, "Many people think resilience means standing firm against every challenge. But bamboo teaches something different. It doesn't resist the wind, it bends, and then it rises." And then the teacher brushed aside a leaf and showed to the monk a small green shoot pushing through the soil. "Look at this one," the teacher said. "Only a few weeks old, yet already reaching upward. It doesn't worry about how many storms have come or how many will come next. It just keeps growing toward the light." The young monk touched the tiny stalk and felt its surprising strength. And then he asked the teacher, "But what if the storm is too strong? What if we bend so far that we cannot rise again?" The teacher placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and said, "That is when we rely on the grove." The young monk looked around and suddenly remembered what he had forgotten, that the bamboo was all connected underground. Though each stalk stood alone above the earth, the roots were all intertwined below. And the teacher continued, "When one stalk is weakened, The whole grove helps hold it up. Likewise, resilience isn't a solitary path. It grows from connection, just like these roots. And now I'm going to say, Rev Laura here, I am looking out at the bamboo that is growing in my yard over there. And I can tell you, once you plant bamboo, it will keep growing and spreading and growing and spreading. It is incredibly strong. Okay, back to the story. As the wind began to blow again, the young monk watched the bamboo move together, supporting one another with every sway. And something inside him shifted, a sense of strength that wasn't just his own, but shared. And to his teacher, he said, "Thank you. I think I understand now." The teacher smiled and said, "Storms will come again, but with a community of support, we will keep rising again and again." And that's the end of the story, but I do hope that you will all remember that, like the bamboo grove, we too are stronger because we are part of a community. And so when we are tired, when we are discouraged, when we are feeling bent by the winds of life, we can lean on each other. Our resilience comes not only from our own strength, but from the strength we share. And in that spirit, let's turn now to our ritual of sharing joys and sorrows. Every week, we take this time to speak out loud or perhaps just hold in our hearts the deep joys and sorrows that we are carrying, perhaps for ourselves or for our loved ones. And let us begin with a candle for our wider world. And Carole, thank you for lighting this candle as I lift up this candle of gratitude. Let's light the candle for everybody who is resisting oppression around the world in so many places. And also, may this be a candle of protection for their safety. In particular today, let's lift up our Unitarian Universalist Association president, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, who was arrested this past Thursday as she peacefully protested in Washington, D.C. with other faith leaders against any further funding for the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees ICE. Reverend Sophia has since been released. She is safe and well. And we give thanks for all those who are speaking out, speaking up together and strong. Thanks to you all. Thank you, Omar. So nice to be together today. So today marks the very first day of our month sitting with a new spiritual theme, which is resilience. And what I want to talk about today is, first of all, how hard it can be these days to nurture your resilience, and also how self-care is a vital part of protecting your resilience, even when you feel like the world is on fire and it feels like you cannot avert your attention even for a moment. Especially then, self-care is important. And I'll wrap up with a reminder that part of what makes it okay to practice self-care even now is that we are all part of a community, so we don't have to do it alone. So let's dig in. And I want to begin with an observation. Maybe you have noticed this too, that for most people these days, it is really hard to nurture our own resilience while we are also trying to pay attention to what's happening in our country and around the world. For most people, the natural state of our heart is to feel wide open to the suffering that we encounter so that we can respond with empathy and care and practical support. This is how our hearts just want to be naturally. This is what leads us to reach out after the Sunday service to someone who has shared an especially tender joy or sorrow. It's what leads us to offer a hug to someone we love after they've had a hard day, or to check on our neighbors after a storm. And this wide open heart is also what leads us to go to protest events, to make dinners for folks in our community who are unhoused, to accompany people to court hearings in the immigration court system, and all the other ways we try to show up for the larger community and work for justice. All these things arise naturally because our hearts want to be generous with our care. However, it is also a fact that there is no way for you personally to respond directly to all the need and all the distress that you are so aware of in the world. And that gap between all the suffering we are aware of and our own limited capacity to help can be deeply distressing to our heart and spirit. So this is where I want to share with you a reading by the brilliant pastor and writer Nadia Bolz-Weber, Bolz-Weber, Nadia Bolz-Weber. And this one is from her essay from 2021 called "If You Can't Take In Anymore, There's a Reason." So this is Nadia Bolz-Weber. I just do not think our psyches were developed to hold, feel, and respond to everything coming at them right now. Every tragedy, injustice, sorrow, and natural disaster happening to every human across the entire planet in real time, every minute of every day. The human heart and spirit were developed to be able to hold, feel, and respond to any tragedy, injustice, sorrow, or natural disaster that was happening in our village. In our village. Wow. As Nadia Bolz-Weber is reminding us here, our human brains and hearts and bodies evolved many millennia ago in very small communities. Our ancient ancestors were expected to care for each other, of course, but not for the entire population of the planet. The way we evolved our brains and hearts and bodies just aren't built to be able to respond to all the suffering and distress that we encounter as we take in the news and scroll on social media. But these days, it all just keeps coming at you constantly. A GoFundMe from a stranger in a tough spot, news of more violence both nearby and around the world, yet another call to take action on things that you care passionately about. And on top of that, maybe you're also caring for loved ones who are going through their own difficulties. And it just goes on and on. And it feels so overwhelming. But at the same time, you still care so much. And you feel a deep moral obligation to pay attention to what's going on so you can respond as much as you possibly can. But for too many of us, going and going and going like this leads to a place where you may end up ricocheting wildly between wanting to fix it all and wanting to hide away somewhere very, very quiet where nobody will ask you to be responsible for anything at all. And you may feel yourself getting more and more off kilter, overwhelmed, shaky, teary, perhaps, desperate for someone to tell you that it's okay to stop at least for a little while. And if that sounds familiar, my invitation to you is this: stop. At least for a moment, stop. At least for the time it takes you perhaps to put your hand on your heart. And again, if you wish to close your eyes, take a few breaths. Would you try this with me if that feels okay? Take a few breaths. Just breathing. Just breathing. And if you like, you could try putting another hand on your belly, if that feels good. And you could imagine, if you like, that you are rooting down into your own deep center, rooting down into that part of you that is wise and trustworthy and deeply kind. What's it like to root down into that center? And you can ask that place in yourself, that wise center. You can ask, what do I need to care for myself these days? And just notice what comes up. It might be words or an image, it might be a song, an emotion, just a sense of knowing, perhaps. What do I need to care for myself? Let's listen to what comes up. And when you're ready, you can also ask that wise place in yourself one more question. In these times, what is mine to do? In these times, what is mine to do? And please notice, we're not asking what needs doing, but rather, what is mine to do? Let's take a couple of breaths and see what emerges. What is mine to do? In just a moment, we're going to bring ourselves back to the outer world. But whatever hints or insights you received, I hope you'll take them seriously. Let's take another couple of breaths. And when you're ready, very gently bring yourself back to this outer space. Hello. I want to remind you that when you connect into that wise center in yourself, you're tapping into the most trustworthy guide there is. And I promise you, it will never tell you to care less because that's not who you are. But it can help you discern what to do and what not to do so that you can stay grounded and present and deeply kind to yourself, even as you reach out in service, in love, offering what is yours to give. And if you are still feeling overwhelmed, I want to remind you that you do not have to do everything because you are part of a community. Many communities, I'm guessing, and certainly this congregational community right here. We are part of a team here. And when you are part of a team, at least two things are true. The first thing that is true is it is okay to focus on what is yours to do. When you're on a team, you don't have to play all the roles. You just have to play your role. And here again, I want to read a little bit more from Nadia Bolz-Weber's essay. Nadia says, I try and remember the world is on fire, but I only have so much water in my bucket to help with the fires. And the more exposure I have to the fires I have no water to fight, the more likely I am to get so burned and inhale so much smoke that I cannot help anymore with the fires close enough to fight once my bucket is full again. And so I try and tell myself that it's okay to focus on one fire. It is okay to do what is yours to do. Again, that's Nadia Bolz-Weber. And I would add that when you are part of a congregation or any other community, your doing what is yours to do is exactly what we need. Because a congregation of identical people who all care about the same thing can only do one thing. But thank goodness that is not actually who we are. We have so many small teams and working groups within our larger congregational team, and that makes us stronger and more resilient. And that finally brings me to the second thing that is true about being on a team, and that is that you personally get to take breaks. We are all here to support each other, to take it in shifts, to tap in and tap out as we are able. You are not locked into nonstop effort all by yourself. So when you are tired and overwhelmed and you need to rest, you get to do that. You really, really do. It is okay for you to care for yourself even now, even when the world is on fire. And I get it. It can be really hard to shift out of that hyper vigilant mode where you feel super anxious if you don't know exactly what's going on at all times. Been there, done that, don't like it, but it's real. Or you might feel guilty about letting yourself just look away for a while when other people are hurting so much. But will you trust your team? Will you trust this team? And I know all the self-care in the world is not enough to fix the vast sorrow in our hearts over everything that has been damaged and destroyed. Self-care will never be a substitute for justice. Self-care will never be a substitute for justice, but we care about you too. So will you trust that it's okay to pace yourself and care for your tired and precious heart? We've got you. You are part of a community where no one has to go it alone. And for that, I say, blessed be and amen.